Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fashion Grunge podcast. I am your host, Lauren.
Hi, I'm Jai.
So, what's up, everyone? We're going to do Natural Born Killers today. I just finished watching it. I'm really excited to talk about this movie. Are you excited, Jai?
I am. I love this film. It's just so cool. I'm really excited actually.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm going to say this at the top of the show that please give us 5 stars and rate us in the iTunes store or wherever you listen to podcasts because, it helps people find it. So I said this at the top of the show, so I'm really excited that I remembered.
Yeah, this is the first time you remember.
First time. So please, if you've made it this far, hopefully you have, just go rate it. So I'm excited about that. So, what have you been up to, Jai? We're like a good... I mean, I guess for just time purposes, we are like in the second month, I guess, of most people being quarantined. Now states are opening, other countries are opening. So how are you doing? Just a quick check-in. We haven't really talked about it like that much, but how are you doing now?
I suppose I'm okay. I definitely, have like ups and downs. But yeah, I mean, I feel like nothing's really changed. Like, there's just
true.
so much you can do. Like, I feel like at least on my part, like nothing. There's no updates. Just keeping busy. Like, definitely watching more things on Netflix than I was.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's not necessarily always a bad thing, so.
Well, not Netflix, just Hulu and Netflix.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, now you have my Hulu. So it's like, you're watching Normal People. Full disclaimer, Jai's been trying to get me to watch the show. I don't know if anyone has seen it yet. If you have, I guess, send
2
a
days.
message.
I watched it in 2 days. I binge. Like,
that's crazy, because you don't really do that.
I don't do that. This just shows how good it is. And that other show that is completely like different to that one. The documentary about the Chicago Bulls. The last.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which you can't really binge on because they only release 2 episodes every week. I think.
Oh, every week. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know when people talk about it on Twitter, and I'm like, did it just come out today? Because everyone's talking about it right now.
I really just can't explain it because I know you don't really care.
Yeah, I have absolutely no interest.
Those 2 shows are definitely the best things I watched in like a really long time. Like,
oh wow, okay.
The last greatest thing I saw was Fleabag, that English show, and until now, pretty much. Although they're very different. But yeah, it's just really inspiring. And actually, I find it really uplifting, because it's a documentary about like the best player ever, like basketball.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I get it.
Fan, so,
I totally get it. I get why people are like really into it. So yeah, it's just has no interest from my end.
So I suppose that, and watching the sunset and drinking coffee are my highlights, pretty much, of my day.
Yeah, I had a good amount of coffee today. I think I had like 3 cups of coffee and like a piece of toast. So I'm like kind of hungry, but I'm like real up. And it was kind of weird to watch this movie like on a ton of coffee. I was like, holy shit, I feel like I'm on some kind of speed trip watching this movie.
Sure, yeah. So, I watched so much coffee and had a lot of sugar on Sunday, and I felt amazing. So,
like, you get that sugar rush. Yeah, like you get a sugar rush. You definitely will. I will definitely crash later on today and be like, oh, I'm hungry, or like something like that.
Yeah, I didn't crash that day, but I mean, I guess sugar and coffee is just,
it's a bad combo, yeah.
Yeah, cake, cupcakes and coffee and, brownies or whatever. I had a really naughty day, but, it's fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine. That's so crazy. The only things I'm watching now, because, okay, I'm rewatching The Affair because I've seen every episode once, just like when they came out. So I'm just like rewatching it. So it's kind of like I haven't seen it before, but I know the basics. I love that show. I love Joshua Jackson. So I was watching like more of his stuff. So I don't want to watch Normal People yet, only because it's kind of like a similar story. Like, not similar, but like I know that Normal People is about this love, on and off love story, and The Affair is about like this like an affair that happens in a marriage and like the degradation of all these people around them. And I like they're
Yeah.
too like similar of a story that I don't want to get involved in that yet
I
until like
know.
finish
I
the
see what you mean.
affair.
I think that's not.
Yeah, because it's just like they're
Yeah.
kind of two in the same wheelhouse. But I know it's gonna be good. I know it's gonna be great. I'm gonna be late to the train. I don't know any spoilers or anything. It's not like anyone's like said
Yeah.
anything to
Do
what
not read
happens.
anything. I thought,
Yeah, so
you
yeah, I'm
know.
avoiding it and I'll watch it when like this hype is over. And then but this just shows like your total like highbrow. I watch a lot of reality TV, disclaimer. The thing that I'm loving this season, aside from reality TV, the show that I love that I want everyone to watch is Insecure. I watch it every Sunday on
I've
HBO.
never even heard of it.
Insecure is
Don't know.
amazing. It's by Issa Rae. She had this awesome YouTube show called Awkward Black Girl that was so funny. And it's literally like an all black version of Girls. Like
Okay.
she's just super inspiring. She's great.
Cool.
But it's
Yeah.
not like Girls at all. Like it's very much like it's just great. It's so funny. It's so smart. It's great. Everyone should watch it. I love it.
Okay.
I love like brown girls doing it, man. It's awesome. She's on
Well, yeah,
HBO.
'cause
Like,
I
yeah,
don't think that there are many shows. I mean, I don't think there is any show, right? Like that. Or
no, there isn't. And the fact that she's on
no.
HBO, that's amazing. Like, she's got so much creative, freedom, and it's great. I think you'd really like it. I mean, everybody can watch it. It's a great show. It's really smart. So I watched that on HBO, and then. What else am I watching? Yeah, I watched The Housewives, New York Housewives. What up? It's like my fucking religion. I love those fucking women. I love Sonia, Dorinda bringing it. Like, I just love it. I listen to podcasts about reality TV, so I won't go into that. But if only I knew someone who watched as much Bravo as I do, who could like talk shit about Bravo shows. So I just listen to podcasts and like 90 Day Fiance. So those are my like guilty pleasures that I watch when I'm not watching these films or The Affair.
That's fair enough. I have
Yeah.
Sex and the City, so that's my guilty pleasure.
That's not
When I
very
can't
guilty
sleep.
though.
Well,
That's like
I
cool.
guess.
I mean,
Well,
kind of. It's
you
like
don't
I
like
like
it,
90 Day
right?
Fiance. No, I've
You don't
seen
like
it.
it.
I've seen
You've
all
seen
of
it?
it. I
Cool.
got it for Christmas. I got the entire series for
Oh,
Christmas. I
cool.
think I think my mom gave it to me or something, and that velvet thing, and I think she thought I really wanted it. And
Yeah.
I think I'd seen it before my old college roommate from Amsterdam when I moved, like when she moved into I think I moved into her room in college. She had like these posters and I hadn't met her yet. And I was like, oh my God, she likes Sex and the City and Friends. Like they were like on the wall. And I was like, oh shit, this is like totally not my wheelhouse. Like I do not like both of those shows. And I was at this point,
Same.
I was like, well, in full disclosure, at this point I was like 18 years old. And do you know what I put on the side of my wall in my dorm? Like she had Sex in the City and Friends. I
Well,
had
let me guess. Let me guess.
okay,
Let me guess.
guess. Okay,
It's gonna
guess.
be Smashing Pumpkins or Nirvana posters or something like that.
No, not at
No?
all. No, not at all.
Oh.
I brought
Dolphin.
nope.
Okay.
When I was home, like when I lived in high school and stuff, I would collect rave flyers that I would go to. And I just
Oh,
loved the graphic
cool.
art on rave flyers. So,
That is
and then I
very
started
cool.
collecting them like in all these like shops where people had vinyl and like DJs and stuff. I was really into like techno, house, drum and bass, jungle at this point in my life. I did listen to obviously grunge and like rock, alternative rock, but I got really into raves in like 99 to like '02, right?
Yeah.
So on the side of my wall, like on when I came in to like decorate my stuff and she wasn't there, I had all these like raver flyers from like Baltimore and like the DC area and like map points to raves that I'd been to and stuff. So like
Yeah.
so I had like a whole rave side and I had like the blue iPad or iBook notebook that was like blue. It was like the laptop, the Apple one. And I was all into like rave shit and like cars. I was like really into like modified cars and like
That's
street racing.
insane.
Yeah, I was
God.
totally not the person that you know now.
Well, I have to say, you and I have lived parallel lives because I didn't care about cars, obviously, like that, but I definitely did the same. I had all these posters from all the raves that I used to go to and
That's so
shows
crazy.
because they always gave them to you before you left. So
Yeah.
as you were leaving, they were like, it would be like 5 a.m. and there'll be someone always giving you these posters, like, not posters, but like
Like the
anything. So it was
flyer,
like
yeah.
flyers for like other shows or yeah. And so I have a whole box full of them
Do you still
from
have
like
them?
I have some. Yeah, I remember I gave you a
Oh,
postcard. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's like a weird thing that I do or did. I collect like postcards and flyers
I
and like
have the
any
same.
posters and things like that.
I
I
have the
did have
same thing. That's so weird. I have
yeah,
the
and I
same
did
thing.
have some on my wall, but not really on the actual wall. I had like one of those boards like you can pin things
Oh
on,
yeah, the cork
and
boards.
yeah, I have a huge one on my desk, and it was covered with anything like random, like
Wow.
cool graphics. And yeah, I used to be really into graphics, and I mean I still am, but yeah, it's really weird. Oh god, we have so much in
We
common
have so
except
much in common. Yeah, that we
reality
just
TV like
yeah, that's the
shows.
one thing that's
Uh,
probably like the most American thing about me is that I really like trash reality TV. Like I will not apologize for it and like I'm going to own it. Like I feel like I mean, they have trash TV. I mean, I watch Love Island. They have garbage in the UK too. I mean, let's
oh, they
not
do.
yeah, let's
No, no,
not act like
absolutely.
yeah, like it
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
all over the world. I just
No, I mean
happen
they
to
have
like it.
the only way is Essex and like stuff like that. I don't know. I don't really
Yeah,
remember
yeah. So
any of it, but
they have their garbage too. I just happen to like Bravo, like Housewives and Lockup, Love After Lockup. I mean, don't even get me started. It's like a whole thing. But
fair enough.
yeah, let's talk about Natural Born Killers.
Yes.
Okay, this is super exciting. It was released in 1994. It's directed by Oliver Stone. I want to hear your thoughts, Jai, on your like first impressions when you first saw it, like overall thoughts on the movie.
Okay, so I really don't remember when I first watched it. I know that it was like in the 90s, so I don't know. I guess 90. It could have been 97 or 98, to be honest. I don't really remember like it's not a very vivid memory. I just know that I liked the movie a lot when I watched it,
That's
and
exactly
I've
what I
seen it.
wrote. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
because
remember exactly when I saw it, but I was like, "What?"
yeah, and it's I mean there's so many layers, and I mean I feel like there's just so much to the film that I completely forgot the end. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have forgotten that part completely. Like when I watched it like 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, I totally forgot about that. Like I didn't really remember how the film ended, you know?
So you'd only have you
Um,
only seen it one time, like
no,
that?
I've seen it. I've seen it a few times, but for some reason I forgot the the ending. I don't know.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, I've seen it like several times, and there are very like specific scenes that I remember well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
same.
I just remember thinking like this is one of not my favorite films, but it's kind of up there with like
Yeah, same.
some of
Yeah.
the best films. Um, yeah, I suppose like if I had to have a collection of like films that I love, it'll definitely be in there, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I always thought of it. But yeah, I rewatched it like 2 weeks ago, and I don't know, it's just so insane. Like the story is insane, and then the movie, you know, it's just everything about it, like the way they shot it, and it's just so crazy, you know.
It's true.
But I think for me, like what really like stands out is the acting, like Juliette Lewis and Woody, like they're just so great together.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like I have to say the only thing that came to me when I was watching it 2 weeks ago was that it must have been so controversial when it came out,
It
even
was
though I don't really remember because
extremely
it was
controversial.
95, right? 94.
94.
It was 94, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember, you know, like what the what people were talking about then about the film because I didn't even watch it when it came out. Like I watched it like a few years later, but it definitely must have been shocking then. However, I feel like now, if that film came out, it wouldn't be like shocking at all. And also, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it was an actual true story because I
I think
feel
it
that
was like
we
based on kind of like a true story, but not anyone in specific like
no like
specifically.
yeah, but clearly not to that extent. I don't think, but
Mm-mm.
I feel that we are so like this society, like this culture now. It's like were just interested in like crime and scandal and
Well,
really obsessed with
yeah.
like reality TV, and like
Mm-hmm.
how media is like worse than it's ever been, and
Yeah.
they
Oh,
will
it's
do
even
anything
worse
to
now.
sell. Yeah, of course. And I
Yeah.
feel like I don't know, it just made me think a lot of like O.J. Simpson, like
I
the
was gonna
whole
say
case.
in August of '94, he had been arrested, but the trial didn't start till January of '95. So that's like a big thing of what was going on, I guess,
Yeah,
in
so
like the
that
media.
so I was wondering about that because I actually don't remember. I didn't even know about O.J. Simpson. I was really young, and I feel like I
Yeah,
heard things
same.
about it, but obviously not living in the US or being American, I it's not something I grew up really knowing about until that documentary came out like last
Oh,
year
that
or 2 years ago.
six-part one.
Yeah,
It
I
was
watched
so good
beforehand the
though.
documentary, and
That
it was amazing.
documentary was like so interesting. I was like,
So
what the fuck?
yeah, so then when I was watching the movie like 2 weeks ago, it made me think of it. I was wondering if that was one of the first case where like it became sort of like the news became more like reality TV, and they were really like, doing the chase in the cars and stuff. I don't know, I guess it just got me thinking about that. Like anything is possible now. Like it wouldn't be surprised if that story was actually true, and
Yeah, and that it
they
like
were
really
following like
happened.
serial killers and like in jail. I mean, they do, right? They do interviews and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's just it made me think about O.J. Simpson and just how it's not really that shocking anymore. Like the whole film, sort of plot. I
Yeah, it
think.
just became like part of our like everyday life. Like
Yeah, 'cause
even more heightened, yeah.
think about like what you're saying, right? Reality TV, like that's all like Joe Exotic and all of that.
Yeah.
It feels like it's fiction, but it's not. And
Well, we're like
so,
raised on true crime. Like if you look at the top podcasts outside of like news podcasts, if you look at the Apple charts, like they're all true crime. Like that's what's the
yeah,
top, that's what people listen to. Like if you
no,
want
it's
to
true.
make a
I
big
mean,
podcast, like they're all true crime, like the top 10 that aren't
yeah, and it's
interviews.
definitely very American, isn't it? That
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
like,
is it big in the UK? Like is
like
that a
people that
thing?
I definitely met people who like true crime, but not to this level.
Here
Not in like in the
everyone
US. I
does.
feel like everyone does, and also
Yeah.
like my husband is totally obsessed, and
Oh,
I mean
is he
I've become a
obsessed?
bit obsessed. Yeah, he like when I met him, he does this funny thing where he'll be like watching or having forensic files in the background
Oh
whilst he cooks,
yeah.
and Dexter, and like I have to say, like he got me into true crime because I suppose I liked it, but I wasn't into it as I am now. Like we watch
Hmm.
every single documentary, like
There's a new one on Netflix that came out that I'm dying to watch. It's like called like Trial by Media. And it's about
oh
how the
no,
media
don't
has
know.
like influenced all these trials, these like American trials that have happened. The first one is I think there's 6 episodes. The first one I'm really interested in because I remember it is there was a talk show called the Jenny Jones Show in the 90s here in America. And they used to have shows where like someone had a crush on someone and then like it would be like someone they knew and then they would like come out and kind of surprise them. Like they'd be like, someone has a crush on you in your life, you know? So they
Yeah.
did this, and this guy was talking about how he had this crush on this other man, and then like the guy thought he was there to meet this girl who had a crush on him, like someone he knew, whatever. So then when the door opened and it was this guy, and he like comes out, and then the guy who like was surprised, he was like really shocked and kind of like oh my god, and the guy was sitting next to him on the stage and he was like, oh yeah, I think he's super cute, whatever, like he was like, I really like him. And the guy was like really nervous and kind of like, haha, okay, well, I'm not into guys, like, okay, whatever. So it was really like sensationalized, like that was kind of the point of the show. I don't know how long, but the guy who had the crush on him, he actually murdered that guy in real life.
Oh
And though he murdered the
wow.
guy that had the crush on him because he was like embarrassed. I think like when he went back to the town, like it had been on national TV, like it was all over that this guy had this crush on you. So this murder trial was then turned into like how culpable is this talk show in this murder, because they essentially are exploiting this like situation for ratings, and this
Mhm.
became like a whole big thing. There's a show on Hulu right now. It's like an H or like an A&E special, and it's called Culture Shock. And there's a whole episode that's really interesting on the rise of like trash TV in the 90s on American TV. Like it didn't exist before we had like talk shows, and like the guy that Robert Downey Jr., like the journalist he's portraying, is very much like this guy Geraldo that we had in like the
Okay.
90s, who would do a lot of these. He wasn't Australian though, but he would do a lot of, he still is on like Fox. I think he's on like Fox News now, but he does all these, like he would do like crazy sensationalist TV shows. Like his nose was broken live on TV because he had like KKK people with like other people that were fighting, and it got like out of control like on TV. And
Wow.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really interesting episode. It's like an hour. It's on Hulu. It's like called Culture Shock, and it's like one of the episodes in there. And you talk about it. And this is another show on Netflix that just came out, The Trials. That's all about the trials and some other cases that I didn't even know. So I'm really curious to see that, because that's almost like this film, like it's all about how the media essentially like played a part in these trials. They weren't like,
Yeah,
like they weren't just regular trials that we didn't
because
know
they
about.
they turned these people into celebrities. If
Yeah.
there hadn't been any coverage, like I guess people would have not become so attached to them, and like like sort of obsessed and looking up to them and seeing them as
Yeah.
like cool or whatever.
That's
I think
really
it's
crazy.
But it's the thing. I mean, obviously, like Joe Exotic isn't like a mass murderer, but I feel quite disgusted by like how people are sort of obsessed with him, and he's like an awful human.
Yeah, people
I
want
think
him
it's
out of
weird.
jail.
Yeah, and people are like, he was set up, save him, and
Yeah, I was
whatever.
like,
I think it's
really?
just, I think it's so sad. Like
It
it
shows
really
the
does make you
culture.
think like, what are we as a society that we are in this sort of, I don't know, like situation, and we love someone or we look up to someone like that,
Like
like,
his,
just because he's entertaining, although
yeah.
he's awful.
And the thing that's so crazy about it is that if this show had come out when there was no friggin' quarantine, I don't think he would have been popular. You know what I mean?
That's
Like, it's
true.
because
Yeah, I
everyone
agree.
was friggin' home, and it was like
Mhm.
this new crazy weird thing that people, started watching, and then unexpectedly it just blew up like to this crazy degree that I was like, this is
Yeah,
insane. Well,
yeah,
yeah,
it's really messed up.
I had
But
for mine, like I was 17 when I saw this movie for the first time. And I just wrote, yeah, it blew me away. I don't remember how I saw it. Probably rented it or maybe saw it at someone's house, I guess. And I just wrote like fever dream, acid trip, bloodfest. That's kind of like
yeah,
my
that sums it all.
that's my whole like thought about the film. And it's just like this media creation of like a 90s Bonnie and Clyde. Just this very like, like we're there together, like, their love story was kind of romanticized in like most of it, and it like is pretty like sweet. I think
I
I
know.
was like, I
That's the
love them though.
thing.
Like, yeah, like I love them. Like I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it's just like, yeah, I just have like, yeah, the media is the devil. Like essentially, like that's just kind of like the whole point of the
And he
whole
says it
movie.
in the film,
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. And at the end, like he is the devil, like the journalist. And he's like, nope, you're the last one. You told our
Yeah.
story. Your
No, I
camera is gonna
know.
tell our
It's
story. We don't need you, you know?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I love that I mean, it isn't just like a silly, violent film, There's
Yeah,
definitely like more to
there's
it.
like a
And
yeah, message.
yeah,
I have a question
cool.
for you. Um,
Okay.
when do you think the last time we glamorized a killer in like popular society? Because like Manson was
Um,
glamorized,
yeah, he
and
was. I was gonna say
Bundy
Manson.
Was glamorized.
Bundy
That's
was.
70s.
Yeah, he
Who's
had
the
like
last
fans and
one?
like women.
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
the
Like who
last
is the
one? Let
last
me
one
think.
that you could think that we can come back to it later if you just think. But
Yeah,
I'm
because
trying to think like
I
as a
actually
whole. People still like OJ. Like
do they?
surprisingly. Yeah. Like people still ask for his autograph. And like women still pose for pictures with him.
I I have to say, like, I don't really remember anyone ever. I mean, in fact, I don't remember any sort of serial killer that's European or from like anywhere else that has been sort of romanticize like
No,
American. Like, why is that? I feel like
I
there's
don't
something to be
know.
said about the culture. Like, we are messed up people. I think like that's
Yeah, I mean, it literally is the culture. I mean, it
it,
still
yeah.
is.
It's so disturbing if you think about it. That
Yeah,
we
it's
like
super fucked
true
up.
crime, and then we can't wait to watch like documentaries about stuff like we
War.
started watching the Atlanta um child murder.
What's that?
It's in the 80s actually. There was like this serial killer in Atlanta that killed just children.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one that was
But it's
the Mine
so
Hunter.
dark. Yeah, there's
Yeah, it
one
was like late
episode or like a
70s.
few.
Yeah.
It's actually really disturbing that we don't know whether we can keep watching because
Yeah, I couldn't watch that.
it's like too much,
It was
you
bad
know.
enough in
But
Mindhunter, in
yeah,
season 2
just
of
give me
Mindhunter.
cults, and I can't get enough of that.
Oh God, you gotta watch Jesus Camp. That crazy
Yeah,
documentary I told
I
you about.
know. So
Yeah,
much to watch. I'll definitely get to it. Just don't know
that one's
when.
super weird. And like, there's a good Jonestown one on.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Have
I've
you
seen
not seen anything
I've
about
seen.
Jonestown, or you have?
I've seen some. I think I started watching it actually.
Yeah, and anything Scientology, I'll watch too. Like anything
Oh, I
about.
can't get into that. I
Oh
really just
shit, man,
don't.
it's
I
a
find it.
fucking.
I fell asleep
It's a
last time I was
whirlwind.
watching it.
It's a
But anyway.
whirlwind. It's a whirlwind. But wait, let's. I was like, I don't want to get too off topic. We're gonna end up like talking
I know.
so long.
Sorry.
The only like production and in director info is directed by Oliver Stone, who I think a lot of people know. He's like a larger than life director, as in like
You
his
have to know
films.
him. Yeah,
Yeah, his films were just larger than life.
he's
Like
made incredible films.
yeah, so I'm trying to think of what the last thing he did was, because I know his big ones are like JFK, Platoon, oh Snowden, that was
Snowden. Yeah,
2016. So yeah,
I've
that was
actually
I guess
seen all
pretty
of those.
recent.
I've seen
Wall Street.
JFK, Wall Street, both of them. Didn't he do the Doors as well?
Yes, he did The Doors, Born on the 4th of July,
Yeah,
Alexander.
oh my God, I've seen that. Yeah, I saw that when I was really young actually, and I've seen it like so many times, like for some weird reason. Don't know.
Yeah,
um,
he's definitely like an amazing director. So, and then obviously the film was written by Tarantino. Well, the
Tarantino.
story was by
Yeah.
Tarantino. Apparently, it was heavily edited by Stone and the production company, and that there was some kind of controversy on like Tarantino like wanting the story to be a bit different, but they had to like edit it. So then he
Oh,
just got the
really?
story credit. Yeah, he just got the story credit. So it's kind of sort of like not exactly what Tarantino wanted. And then there's a quote that I saw from Tarantino that said like, this is not my story. If you consider yourself a fan of my work, do not judge this. And then another interview I was just reading that he said that like, this is not my serial killer movie. If you were to see mine, it would like scare the shit out of you. Like what I really want to do. And I was like, all right, Quentin. I
Well,
got
I
it.
guess we'll never know. But I saw that
Yeah.
he actually tried to get it to produce it, but he didn't. He sort of failed and spent a lot of
Yeah.
money and decided to sell the script.
Yeah, and then there was all this
Yeah.
drama with like I think he probably wanted the story like kept the way it was. And then they were like, "No, we have to edit it because there was like problems with rating it, like NC-17 like
Oh yeah,
because of the
it was so
violence and all
full
that.
on, yeah,
Yeah, so they
and
had to like
sex and yeah.
some films were cut or some scenes were cut, like some places banned it altogether and then they like I think the UK banned it at first, but then they eventually put it in theaters. Like it was a whole big thing. I mean, cuz back then this was pretty like raw to show people like, yo, this is what it is. Like this, I'm showing you
Yeah,
something that no one's really said to you. Now you have people who say this on YouTube, like you hear it from your friends and stuff.
because they cover so many things that are terrible, like the
Yeah.
fact that the like Mallory's dad
Yeah, like
sort
abusing
of
her,
abuses her,
like
that.
raping her essentially.
I mean, I think they did a pretty good job with that because it was not like too literal. Like you don't see anything too much. Like
Yeah, it's
it's
just all what he's saying
it's
and like
sort of
looking
like
at
made
it.
in like comic, or also like I don't know the style they shot that it was sort of like comedy, like a comedy
Yeah, the
show
sitcom, yeah.
almost. Like, but yeah, it must have been so controversial like
Yeah, it
back
definitely
then for
was.
sure.
And Tarantino did the story, and then I have to point out Robert Richardson, who is the cinematographer, because this film's cinematography is like
It's
unreal.
amazing.
It's
Yeah, I know.
unreal.
It's
And
crazy,
yeah,
right?
I love it. That's a big part of the film, I think, is the cinematography. Just all the
Yeah.
colors and like it's just tons of red, tons of green. Like, those that's like the main thing here, but it's so yeah, it's just so cool. I have yeah, I just have like color theory. The budget was $34 million, which is quite a lot.
It's quite a
Um
lot. Yeah.
in the
How much
90s, I
did
feel
he
like
do
it
then
made 50
at the box
million.
office?
So it
50
did,
million.
yeah, it did make more than the budget, but still like 34 million, like that's a lot for back then, I
Yeah.
feel like, but that's it's kind of crazy. And it has
Yeah,
such
no,
mixed
it is.
reviews. I feel like it's one of those films that like I don't know. I guess either you like it or you don't. I feel like I don't know like that there's that much of a middle
I
ground.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't
right?
imagine people being like, "Oh yeah, that film was alright." I feel like people have very strong views on it because it's too intense. I feel like if that's not your cup of tea, like that, you can't even be like, "Oh yeah, it was alright." You know? I feel like you either love that sort of style,
Mhm.
or like, you know,
Or like yeah,
or
you just
anything
don't.
like, yeah. This is totally my kind of thing. Like I like really insane violent things. Like my favorite film is A Clockwork Orange. So
Is
yeah,
that your favorite film? Is that like do you have a
yeah.
number one? That's your
I
number
have a
one?
number one. Yeah, because people always say, "Oh, I can't answer that. I can't really think of one." You know, I like
Yeah,
several.
I
I'm like,
can answer that. I was gonna say I definitely
I
don't
can
have a
answer
number one.
that. I've known for a really long time that's my favorite film. Like I love
Wow.
Kubrick, and I love everything about that film, like how it was shot, the acting is incredible, the story, it's like it's disturbing, but I like things that like shock you, you know?
Oh wow, okay. I
And I
had
read
no
the book.
idea.
Yeah, I read the book as well, and the film didn't disappoint at all.
Oh wow,
Like,
okay. I don't even
yeah.
think I had like I mean I don't even think I really have one. I mean I honestly don't. I mean I have a film that like was a turning point for me. Like that
What is it?
it's Larry Clark's Kids. That
Oh,
that
of
was
course,
that
yeah.
was like the turning
I
point
don't
for
know why
me.
I had to ask that then.
Yeah, like that was a turning point for me, just that like there was a world outside of what was in the movie theaters, like that I realized that there was like an independent kind of work, like different movies, like things that just
Yeah,
looked
of course.
different and that felt
Yeah.
real, like that felt really real, so but I don't think it's my favorite. It's not my favorite film, like because that just doesn't like, no, it just wouldn't be my favorite film. But I don't, yeah, I just don't think I really have one. I think I have, but it's interesting that I have, I guess, like favorite directors. I don't know. Do I?
I have favorite directors,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have
But I
favorite
mean,
directors for sure. But yeah, I don't have like a number one that's really interesting. I've seen Clockwork Orange twice. First time I saw it was in film class, and I had to write about it. And then I saw it again later. I am not a Kubrick fan, so I
you're not?
no,
Really?
not at all. No. And I don't think I ever want to see that film again. Like I did
What?
it didn't do anything for me. I think maybe I had different expectations, but yeah, it didn't really do anything for me, I have to
Well,
say.
maybe you should watch it like now, see what you think.
I don't
Maybe
know.
you,
I really don't like Kubrick. I don't get him at all. Like I don't like Wes Anderson either. You're not going to change my mind. Like I just
yeah, that I get it.
I
But
have
I
no
totally get why
interest.
you don't like Wes Anderson. I didn't think that Kubrick would be in the same category, but I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
don't know.
think I just don't
He
get
was
his
like a really
vision.
cool photographer too, you know. Like I really like his stuff. Like he doesn't have a lot, but I
I'll have
just
to check
like
it
the way
out.
he shot.
I'll have to check it
Yeah, I like
out.
the
Yeah,
way he shot
I don't
things.
have any
Like,
knowledge of his photography, but yeah, I'll check that out though.
yeah,
That sounds
cool.
cool. I'm gonna write that down.
Um,
Yeah, do you have any other notes about production? I mean, all I have was like I have plot
yeah.
point notes, or but yeah, what else do you
Well,
have
I
to
don't
say?
know if this falls into that, but I read that there were a lot, and this is from interviews that I read and stuff. Or like, I actually saw an interview with what's her name, Juliette Lewis, where
Oh
they
yeah.
they asked her about the film, and she said that there were a lot of improvised scenes.
Oh, that's cool.
So is like that she loves Oliver Stone because that's one of I suppose he's one of the few directors that allows you to just improvise and like really trust you to like take your
Yeah.
role further. And I guess for actors, that's probably like the most amazing thing, right? Because they get to do their. Imagine how boring if you just get to do like what you're told all the time. Or like, I feel that having that freedom must be really amazing as an actor to do just
I
whatever and
I
take.
believe Scorsese's like that, isn't he? Is-
Yeah, yeah, he's like that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
And yeah, I was gonna say I think Scorsese is like that. That's
But
cool.
yeah, she says that there were a lot of improvised scenes. One of them was when she strangles Mickey with her knees,
Oh,
sort of, but
In the
in a kind of
car.
like in a yeah, exactly, like in a sexual way. It's not really
Hmm.
like, and that they just had a lot of fun. They had a lot of chemistry on set, and they felt really comfortable with each other.
Oh yeah,
And
you can
obviously, like
tell.
you can tell, yeah, because they asked her if they dated, and she was like, no, we just had like a really great chemistry. And she also said that she had pneumonia for the last chunk of the movie
Oh no
when they were
way.
in jail, like all the scenes at the prison and stuff. And
Yeah.
she was really sick, but um she didn't want them to to stop shooting because that's a lot of money, and so she just
Like
suck it
worked
up
through it.
basically and worked
Damn.
through it. And
I
that they
love Juliette
shot.
Lewis though. She's
I
so
know
dope.
she's
Like,
so
yeah. I
amazing,
love
and
her.
she was 19. She was so young.
Oh yeah, and this?
Yeah,
Damn,
19.
wow. I was gonna say I thought she was like early 20s.
And
That's
it was one of
crazy.
her early roles because I think she was only in like two things before this.
She was in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah,
What year was
and she was
that?
in
That was
something else.
afterwards?
Like
She was in
no, that was before.
California with Brad
But I
Pitt.
think that was
She used to date
after.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
No,
but
that
that's
was
after this,
before.
right? Was
California was
it?
like 92.
Oh
Yeah,
wow. Okay, I
it was
thought it
like
was
one of Brad Pitt's
94.
first ones.
Okay,
Let me
well I
see.
don't
Let
know.
me
She
see.
said that it was one of her earliest. So
Yeah, it was a
I
big
don't know.
one early because the other ones I think weren't like they weren't that big. Like this was a big movie. It was like a big
Yeah, well
kind of
maybe that's what
thing.
she meant. I don't know. Um, and also that they shot at a real prison, and that was kind of spooky and crazy. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say the bits where where they're all in the prison is just like it looks like it'd be crazy just to even shoot that.
I
Like you would
know,
just go
I
crazy just
know.
being in that room, like with the cameras and the lights and all
Well,
that
I
shit.
can't believe that they allow him to do it. It's kind of crazy that they
It
would
is really
allow
crazy.
anyone to film an actual movie there. Like, yeah,
It's so weird.
that's the only things that I have that I thought were quite interesting
That's
and like
cool.
cool.
That's really cool. I have the DVD, but I was watching it. It's on Hulu right now. I was watching it on Hulu, so I probably should have watched the behind the scenes more and stuff. But I'm sure there's probably something on there. I'm gonna watch it. But yeah,
And she said actually something else that she mentioned was that at the time when the movie came out and stuff, the media was really awful to her and um like a lot of the actors in the film, 'cause they took it really personal, as if it had been like a real kind of story
like
almost.
why are you glamorizing it? Like they all got in trouble for like why would you be in a film like
Well, no, because
this?
it's how they made the media look. That they were these
Oh
terrible
yeah, because they're like
monsters.
you're saying we're the problem.
Yeah, with
They,
the problem. Yeah, exactly. And then they were being quite cruel to her,
oh
and like,
God,
she had really bad experiences. That they took it really seriously. Like, yeah, it's kind of weird that that would happen. I mean, it's a film,
it's
like,
ironic
and
though.
also
They're just
you're an
proving the point.
actor,
You know what I mean?
but also like as if it was the actor's fault anyway, right? It's
Yeah,
like
it's not
she
their
didn't write the
story.
script.
No.
No, she's only acting. Like, yeah, yeah, I have that. That's it, really,
Oh,
for
cool.
me.
Yeah, I mean, I just have some kind of not really plot points because I could obviously like talk people through the whole film because it's just so good. And this also collabs with one of my favorite scenes. And it's just like the introduction, like that diner scene is just iconic. Like just the way
But
it
you can't talk about it because that's in favorite scenes, isn't it?
well, I know, but I mean, I also have like the plot points and how the story opens up. Like
Okay.
that is what kind of that's what really, like, I just love how the whole film opens up. Like, pre-credits, I just love how, like, that whole diner scene is, like, right before you get the actual titles, where
Yeah,
it
it's
says, like, Natural
amazing.
Born Killers. Like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this movie. Like, I'm going to
It's such
totally
an
love this movie.
like it's such an insane opening scene. Like it's my favorite scenes, by the way.
Yeah, like I was like I knew that
Uh,
like that would have to cross over, but I just have like I love like the way they first meet too, in that weird sitcom way where he's like delivering the meat to the house and it's like
oh yeah,
creepy, but like
so
full
creepy and dark.
disclosure, they made Woody Harrelson the most like creepy hot guy ever. Like I don't know what it is. I have like an also like an unspeakable attraction to him anyway in any form. Like even in True Detective, fucking love him. Like I'll take either one. I'll take McConaughey or Harrelson. Like don't care.
Well, yeah. I
Um
mean,
but like yeah, I just love him in this movie. I love him in the all white with the gun holsters and the red glasses. Like I mean I
so
just
sexy,
that is
so
like that
sexy.
fucking
Yeah.
outfit is just so iconic. That one and the one where he's shirtless with the leather jacket in the drugstore.
It just shows like the power of good styling because
It's true.
I don't think he's cute. I never actually saw that, but in the film he is really sexy, and I think it's just the styling, like all the
It's like the
clothes,
swagger. It's like just the way he
the
carries
swagger, yeah,
himself. Yeah.
the way he carries himself, but also you see this like tough guy who's a killer, but then you see like another side to him, like the sweet, loving side. He's
Yeah.
really crazy. Like he's totally in love with Mallory, and he's like really cute. He's
Yeah, and he's
actually
like
kind of
trying to
cute.
rescue
Like
her. He knows like her dad is like shit and like, he's trying to like take her out of
yeah,
this like
that makes him
situation.
really like extra hot, and yeah,
Yeah,
he hits
even
some points
more.
for sure. Yeah, I
Um
agree.
I love Wayne Gale, the reporter played by Robert Downey Jr. I love his Aussie accent.
His accent is
Props
just insane. Like
props to that. I think it's funny. He's really funny though. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is just
he
like
is a
he's just
funny
really
guy.
funny.
Yeah.
I kind of love the way he's just like this manic reporter. I love the way they introduce him that he's totally like Geraldo, like that guy I told you about who like had these crazy talk shows. Like he just has such a manic state about him. Like he's just
Yeah,
always like
I have to say, like his character really stresses me out. Like
yeah, he
he's
is
really good in it, but I
insane.
actually feel stressed every time he's in scene. It's just like really antsy, and I don't know, like yeah.
It is really crazy. Like I'm just like, oh my God. And then I also really like how well, I don't like this, but there's also an interesting comment that even the cops who are supposed to be like on the good, on the good side, when they're investigating the crime, like at the garage, I think at one point, like Mallory kills this guy in this garage, and like the guys are the head detective, played by Tom Sizemore, is like super misogynistic. I mean, just
Yeah.
like he just talks about her like she's a fucking chick, she's this and that, like she's like a hot piece of ass kind of thing. Like so
But
even
he's
the
obsessed with
cops.
her though.
Yeah,
I
he
feel like
is.
he
He is
totally is
definitely
obsessed. Like
super obsessed with her and fucking creepy as fuck. And he's a creepy, weird kind of looking guy anyway. Like he always plays these characters. Well, he does. So every time I see him, he always plays the same kind of guy. So, he was also hooked up with Heidi Fleiss. I don't know, do you know who Heidi Fleiss is?
I
She,
don't
oh,
know.
she's like
No.
she's known as the Hollywood Madam. She like ran escorts for like all these important people in Hollywood in like the late 80s, early 90s. And she
Wow.
has this infamous black book that has probably every famous person in it and everything they like to do. I mean, everything personalized, and she will never release it. She's still around. She lives in like Vegas in the desert. She plays with like parrots. It's crazy. There's an HBO documentary about her. It's really interesting. But he was with her for a really long time, like Tom Sizemore, the actor. And
Hmm.
every time I see him, he always plays these like really weird, like sketchy guys. And like and he has that look, like his eyes just kind of have this weird, like, I don't know. He just has a thing with his eyes. He just looks really weird and like shit.
Yeah, no, he's creepy looking for sure.
Yeah, he always looks like
I
that.
haven't seen him on anything else. Maybe I just don't remember. But
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, he's just crazy. And yeah, I was just like, yeah, even the cops are sexualizing her. Like, everyone's kind of in on this horrible, everyone's just awful. Like everyone, it's like, it just kind of depends on like who they're after, You know, like they're gonna vilify
Yeah,
murder, so like that's what they're gonna do. But what about these people over here? You know, like it's just a comment on how everything's just kind of fucked. You know, like the whole situation's just kind of fucked. I just have Mickey and Mallory's relationship is this like I love the way it comes together. I love this like toxic passion that they have. I think it's just like it just I don't know. I mean, I know we're not supposed to like it, but it just like what we are at the same time, you know? Like we're not supposed to be in their side, but the way it's making you feel, it's like you're on this journey with them doing all this crazy shit and you're just like on this crazy roller coaster, like psychedelic ride and things getting spliced in. It kind of feels like a dream. Like when everything
it
doesn't
does.
quite make
Yeah,
sense, you know, and like you get flashes of this and flashes of that and then you know, you just see all these little things like yeah, I love the whole like feeling of the whole film. It's never boring. There's never like a lull.
definitely not. Yeah,
Yeah, there's never like where there's a bit in the middle or like towards the end where you're like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like 15 minutes. It like keeps going. There's like prison, then there's the riot, then they're escaping. Like I'm like, okay, yo, here we go. Like let's go. Then there's the interview, and then there's like, you know, it's just like really has such good pacing. I think too, just like in general, the whole story.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have some weird
What are your
and
like
like
theme and
news.
mood? Like what's your feeling on the soundtrack?
The soundtrack, okay. You know, I think the soundtrack is so interesting because
Mm-hmm.
they use so many old, pretty melodic songs from the 50s and 60s. Like,
Uh-huh.
I don't think they all made it to the official soundtrack, but
No, yeah,
you,
there's a lot of things that aren't.
because there are a lot of songs. Like, there's a song by a group called the Shangri-Las,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like 60s music. That wasn't in the official one, but um, it's just funny because you have these like crazy violent scenes, and which usually have some pretty 50s or 60s song in the background, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Nine Inch Nails, Patti Smith, Jane Addiction, Cowboy Junkies, like Juliet Lewis. Like it's just so eclectic that you have some kind of jazzy music and
Yeah.
pretty cute
It's like Leonard
old.
Cohen, like
Yes, and oh my
L7.
god, that's kind of like poetry. Yeah, and then like they don't even you would never think of pairing those scenes with the music, but it works so well,
Yeah, it
you
works
know.
so well.
And it's so like not the official soundtrack is quite is not huge, but if you go on Spotify, they have like
Yeah,
some
all
people
the
have added
songs.
songs that they that have been included in the film, even though
Yeah,
they
it's
weren't
good.
official. And it's massive. It's like a really long playlist, and
I'll
it's
link
really
it.
cool.
I saved it
Yeah,
on my,
do
yeah,
it.
I'll link it, yeah, so people can listen to it.
Yeah. What about you? What?
Yeah, I just have like Cowboy Junkies, Western rock punk. Like I just love the whole like I love the instrumental like transitionals, which are really cool too. They're just super out west. I just see all of this. It just fits so well with the mood, like and the just like all the cinematography with like the motels and like the dust and like the colors and the music just works so well with it. I mean, I love
Yeah,
Nine
I
Inch Nails
agree.
too. Yeah,
Like
it's super
it's
good.
yeah, it's. I mean, the whole thing just really comes together. I feel that the craziness of mixing those like completely opposite sort of songs, and then how it was shot. Like, there's like
Mm-hmm.
black and white shots that I thought were really, not all, but there's some really beautiful black and white shots when they're at the beginning in the jail. Like, they're really like artistic and like pretty.
Yeah.
But then you have like psychedelic visuals in the background, like when they're driving
Mm-hmm.
and they're sleeping in the Indians man's home,
Mm-hmm.
There's some crazy like trippy sort of visuals. And then you have like it's all like really interesting angles and like weird edits, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
what I
so
have.
much
Like
going on.
manic state. This the
Yeah,
yeah. There's so much going on.
there's just like so much going on, and I feel that I'm pretty sure I can't really remember from the top of my head, but I remember hearing that normally you have like I don't know, like an average of let's say 500 what are they called? Not shots, but I
Like
suppose
cuts?
shots or cuts. Yeah, and this was in the thousands.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense because think about all the different films they use, and then like to put it together, they must have so much.
Yeah,
Can
because
you
that the
imagine being
black
an
and white, yeah, the black and white looks like it was on like 16 millimeter,
yeah,
maybe. And then
back then for sure. Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, I can only imagine like
like
all the
to go
different
over
film.
all the film and do the editing. God, it must have taken forever.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a huge part of so many films is the editing. Like you'd be
Yeah,
surprised like how different things will be if they just edit it completely different. I think there's a
yeah.
director's
There's,
cut
I
of
think,
this movie too that has like a bit more, but I'm
yeah.
surprised this
So
movie's
there's
not like
no.
4 hours long.
I know. Yeah, true. I feel like that was for me what created the mood, right? Because it isn't really like a
Yeah.
set. I mean, there is like it's kind of like Arizona, New Mexico, that kind of area. You
Mm-hmm.
can see that it's very like Western, but that's no through the whole thing, you know, because like the prison is like completely different, and I don't know, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the way they shot it and like the colors and everything, and like weird angles and stuff that created a mood like for me. So yeah,
Yeah, it's super. It's just like I have almost the same things, you know? Like I love all the manic states of like the sets. I love the motels. I love all the like interiors too. I love the diner too in the beginning. I just love
oh
all
yeah, the
the
diner scene is so
yeah,
cool.
I just love all
Yeah,
those areas and all of the just yeah, just the whole vibe of it. I love like the color. I love the reds and the greens. How that's like the
so
main
the
thing.
do you know if the cinematographer won anything for the film or not?
I don't not any like big things that I can think about. I'll look it up. Oh yeah, let's get to fashion. I know you got a lot to say. I'll look it up while you're talking about fashion.
Okay. I mean, I don't even know where to start because it's so cool. Like that normally is the girls that wear the coolest things, but I feel that Mickey's outfits were just so like on point. I've seen so many bands that copy that exact same look, you know? Like
Oh, really? Bands?
yeah, yeah, like um Razorlight, for example, they did the whole all white, like white t-shirt, white denim, white jeans.
Oh,
Like,
I didn't know that.
yeah. I mean, I feel that. I mean, I read somewhere that maybe Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake copy their look for
Oh, that all
the
denim
the
thing?
ne- no the denim, but I think Britney wears the red, right? Red top and red. I mean, completely different fabrics, but
Oh,
Um,
like that
I mean, I don't
outfit.
know. Maybe that's just a coincidence because it's very different. It's not Western, but I love Mickey's outfit when he wears that, like all white, with the gun. What do you call it?
Oh, the
Vest
holster?
or the holster? Yeah,
Yeah, he has the leg one and then he also has like the shoulder one.
yeah. And like, I love it when he wears that vest with cowboy boots,
Mm-hmm.
western belt, and you can see he has a like yin yang tattoo and a necklace as
So
well,
does she.
or
She has the
earrings.
yin yang
No, it
too.
wasn't a necklace. It was an earring, I think.
Yeah, he has an earring. Yeah,
Um, yeah, and then and the sunglasses. I mean, the iconic '90s really round, small,
they're like Lennon
you
glasses.
know.
They look
Yeah,
like John Lennon glasses.
yeah, no, totally. They are. They're like '60s, right?
Yeah, they're just
But
red
they
instead of
came
like
back in the
purple.
'90s.
Yeah, oh
They came
yeah,
back
they
in the
definitely
'90s
came
a little
back. Yeah,
bigger. And I love that red outfit that she wears to the desert with the like crop top
yeah, it's really
and like
cool.
fringe leather jacket. Like, yeah. I mean, they don't wear many outfits, but the few that they wear are like insane. They're like really amazing.
Yeah, I love the. I just wrote for fashion. I wrote just wow, Western druggy chic.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I just like yeah. I love how they're. It's either like red or like she wears a lot of red, and I think like red is just everywhere in the film. Like there's
It
blood,
is.
there's
Yeah.
rose, there's just red everywhere, and just the lights are red. Like she's wearing red, and it just seems like that's like red and green are like the two colors of the whole film. But and the black and white, but like as far as color wise, but yeah, I do like her outfits a lot, but I love his. I love the
I
leather
love his. He
jacket
looks so
with no
great.
shirt and the like pants in the drugstore.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
it has like the,
yeah.
and then he has like no, but you can see his belt buckle. He has like that big belt buckle, and he's just like, I don't know, running around. Like he just looks awesome. And I love when he shaves his head. I was like, God, he looks good
Oh,
too.
he looks really great.
I know.
How
I was
many
like,
men
he
can
looks good
actually
too.
pull that off? Because I literally was having this conversation like the other day. I was like, to be a man and to pull that off is you had to be really hot. You
Yeah,
had
your
to have like a
face
really
has to be
great
like,
face and
yeah.
like bone structure. Because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he looks great. I mean,
Yeah, he just looks so awesome. So yeah, that's what I had about the fashion. I love him. I love that all white outfit. Yeah,
but they
hers I
look
guess I'm
like
like whatever, but yeah, I like his the
yeah,
best.
they look like hipsters
Yeah,
in
they kind
like
of do.
the early 2000s. Like in East London, like people were wearing that.
The
So
haircut, it's like a shaggy, like,
everything,
yeah,
yeah.
bob kind of. Okay, so what are your favorite scenes? I can't wait to hear these. I want to know how
Okay,
many you
so
had.
surprisingly, I only have three, and they're
Oh
really
yeah,
random.
I have
Well,
three,
one of them
but
is,
yeah, I have a few
but
like
they're not.
things I like, but I have
I
three.
have. I sort of focus more on like favorite lines. I
Oh, okay,
love.
good. Cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the first scene at the diner
Uh-huh, that's
when
mine
she's
too.
dancing. I just think it's. I mean, it's amazing. She's actually just dancing. You don't even know that she's with him. And then these guys come in and they're being just really pervy and disgusting. And they're like dancing sort of next. One of them is dancing. And then, yeah, she basically like beats him up and starts killing everyone. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just amazing. It's like that scene is just as iconic as Pulp Fiction, when they're dancing and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true, it is.
And I love diners. Obviously, I'm kind of obsessed because it's not something that I grew up with. So, like, I
Yeah,
find it
that's
fascinating.
right.
How many times you've taken me to a diner? I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
diner.
well, we should go to
Cool.
more then. When we can, well, whenever
When
the
we're
fuck
ever
that
able to
is.
go
Yeah,
outside.
yeah. Hopefully
Yeah,
there will still be diners, because good God. I mean, let's
yeah.
hope.
I've been to like a few, and every time I go, I'm like, picture, and I'm a total like tourist because I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're
this
always
is just
like,
really cool.
yeah, they're really cool out west. Like I went to a few of them when I drove from the east to the west coast, and yeah, when we got to like New Mexico and Arizona, we stopped at some diners. They're in some like random towns, like desert towns,
Yeah,
which is
that's
kind of cool.
in my list. Like
Yeah,
things I
man.
gotta do
I will
since I
totally
live
drive
here.
across the country again. I want to do it
Please.
again. I want to
Yeah,
do the
it's
northern
so
way. I
cool.
went the southern way, but like, I mean, I'll go anywhere. It doesn't really matter, but I definitely want to do it. I would do it like two or three more times. Like, just you could see something different every time you go. It's not like you could ever do it too
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
So it's
Okay,
super
what's your
cool.
first?
My
What
first one
about
is the
you?
diner scene, so yeah, we'll move on to my second one maybe because mine is the same one. I love everything about the diner scene. I think I posted it on Instagram like 5 years ago. Like it's
Oh,
the videos on there. I fucking love it. So like yeah, everything you said about it, I love it. I love when she like the guy tries to touch her and then she's like, "Come on, fucker," and then she just like kicks him in the head, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, you're crying," and then she like picks him up and just like beats the shit out of him. I was like,
I
yes.
know she's so wild.
Yeah,
She's
she's
just this
so crazy.
tiny, sexy, cute girl, and you will never see it coming.
Yeah, yeah, she's like just totally insane. I love it. I love that she's unhinged. My next favorite scene is the wedding scene. If I ever get married, I literally want it to be exactly like this. I don't
That's
need
a really cool scene.
fucking
Yeah,
anyone
yeah,
there.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Like it does. Like I love it. I love like what they say. Another thing I really like is I also in my story notes, I really really love Mickey's letter to Mallory when he's in jail.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my God.
I forgot about that.
It's like so sweet. Like he's just like, I remember every time you laughed. I remember like it's like a really sweet letter. Like not judging from the fact that it's from like one serial killer to another, but like it's like, it kind of shows like his humanity a little bit.
Yeah,
That's why I like the wedding scene too, because he's like really into it. I feel like he really like will do anything for her and loves her, and I love the way it's shot. I love like the blood, and then it goes into like the animation of them like
Yeah, and I love where
together.
they are. I love
Yeah, that
that
bridge,
brick sort
yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
And the white, like the white fabric that she has, and then it like blows away. I just love that whole scene. Like that whole scene is just, yeah, it's one of my favorites. What about yours? What's your other
Cool.
one?
Well, it's weird because maybe I don't know, like I like the shooting at the drugstore because
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
cool.
as crazy as like the jail part. Like
The
everything that
jail
happens
part's
in prison,
crazy.
it's just crazy, but it's kind of like almost like too much. Like I prefer the drugstore. Like it's a bit more settled, and like I just love when the Japanese news
I
reporter
know.
comes. Like I think it's so funny. She's like
So funny.
just really close, you know. I think it's just funny. I don't know. I
She's
like
like
everything
right
about
behind
it.
him, like with her whole camera crew.
Yeah, because also like how ridiculous she. No, both of them got beaten, right? Both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're kind of like hallucinating and like feeling crappy, and they're like trying to get meds and whatever. But then by the end of it, he's fine. By the end of the shooting, he manages to like kill a lot of people and like to still create such a mess. And she's kind of wild too. So it's kind of like they went from like almost dying to then suddenly be really awake and
Yeah, and like super just crazy.
yeah. So I don't know. I just really like that
That
scene.
is a cool one. I like how it's all
Yeah.
green too.
Yes, that the colors.
Yeah, I love the colors. That's really cool. It's like super
What's
cool.
your next one?
My next one is I love the whole scene of just them tripping. Like I just wrote like no, taking shrooms while driving, no. And then like and then I wrote like story. No, there's no story to insert here. I've never driven on shrooms. But just like the fact that it's a really bad idea, and one of my friends was telling me about one time that he took shrooms on a plane, and it was like
Oh
not
no,
it was I because I think I was like,
that.
oh, I'm gonna take shrooms on the plane, and he was like, let me tell you why that is not a good idea. And then he told me like a whole thing about like no, it is not good. He took it from Iceland to Denmark to go to Roskilde, like this festival in
Oh yeah, the
Denmark,
festival. Yeah,
and
it's
he was like
amazing.
telling me
Yeah,
about it, and he was like, and the planes are literally like
tiny.
like everyone's going, you know what I mean? So everyone's like the same age. So he's like, it just wasn't a good time. Like it wasn't like a time where everyone's chill on a plane. Like when you're on shrooms and
Yeah,
everyone's being kind of crazy, like it's not a
yeah.
good
When you go to
experience.
festivals and that happens, like you have there's so many festivals in Spain, and like we were going to one Benicassim like a long time ago, and everyone on that flight because it was like EasyJet or something like that, like cheap. They're really cheap
Mm-hmm.
flights and they're tiny planes, and yes, the entire plane would be like going to the festival. So everyone is drinking, being really loud. Like it's not relaxing at all. It's actually
Yeah.
quite stressful. So I can't even imagine being on
Yeah.
shrimps and like
I was just like, no, that sounds like it would be pretty bad. But then I think in
yeah,
general, it's a bad idea, even if it's a chill flight. It's
or
just
driving. I can't
oh
even
yeah, well, no, you
imagine it.
can't. Like you absolutely can't. But that's my favorite scene is when they take the shrooms, and then also like the Native American man and how he like is totally like telling them like what like it projects like what they really are. And it's like demon, and it's like
Yeah,
and he's
that was
like
sad.
talking like all
That's
about
very
it.
sad that
Well, yeah, it is sad
he
because he
killed
had that
him.
hallucination and like killed him. But
I know.
but I like that whole scene, like
Yeah.
the way that he like talks to them, and the way that he kind of like lays out like who they are, and they're on this like weird. It just felt very much like a shroom journey, I think.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool.
I liked that scene. What's your other one?
Well, this is barely a scene, but I liked it because it's really random, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
actually know why it made it to the film. But there is like a Coca-Cola ad in it
With the polar
of
bear.
this. Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
so weird that
That was
in
a
the
big deal
film.
here. I used to want that bear, that stuffed bear. Every time we were in the grocery store, I would like
But
tell my
why
mom I wanted
why
that
was it in
stuffed
the
bear.
film? I
It was
don't
just, I think,
understand.
indicative of like, American TV and advertisements. Like
Oh
everything has
yeah,
an ad break, you know? Like
I
everything's
do
always like an
remember
advertisement.
even being like a kid in the 80s and things, I'd be really aware that the US, like all these American brands, had like huge ads. Like Coca Cola was always making epic ads, and
Yeah, all the time.
Pepsi and
Levi's.
Levi's, yeah, Apple, you know,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah. So I thought it
Gap.
was just like funny, really, just because it reminded me of like being a kid. I was like,
Oh, is that
who
was your
knew that
scene?
about American culture? Well, it was barely a
Oh,
scene,
that's
but yeah,
cool.
that. Yeah, I have favorite lines though, a lot.
Oh
Not a lot, but
yeah.
I have a few.
My other favorite scene was just Mickey's interview. I love when they're doing that
Oh
jailhouse
yeah,
interview. I just love the way
it's
he's just
pretty
like
good.
the way he
Yeah,
just kind of breaks down his whole philosophy and just
yeah,
like the way that he just kind of like he's like I'm the hate messenger and like only love can kill the demon, like I'm this demon in me and like only love can kill it. And he just says like I realize that I'm a natural born killer and I'm just evolved
yeah. That was
from past
cool.
like what a
Yeah,
regular man is because I've like not accepted laws, you know what I mean? Like he's kind of like reached this weird like so he thinks he's reached this elevated state past like most of humanity. Like he thinks he's kind of like a different form of human because he like has judgment and, you know, exacts murder on people and doesn't think that's a bad thing. But I just like the whole thing and how I like the whole interview and I like how it was shot and I like how it just like totally erupts. And then he just like breaks out and just like totally turns on everyone in there. But he's like, bring the
yeah.
camera. I
No,
want the camera
that's
with me. And then he just, that's when like Robert Downey Jr. becomes like Rambo. And he's like, I'm leaving my wife. I'm fucking doing everything. I'm like shooting shit up. Like, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, he managed to distract like all the cops, and they're all laughing and get
Yeah.
distracted, and then he starts killing everyone and
Mm-hmm.
taking over
It
basically.
reminds me
Yeah,
of Silence of the Lambs. It very much
yeah,
reminds me of that scene where
yeah,
he's in
totally.
there and he's in that whole thing. But yeah, what are your? That's about it. That's all I have for my scenes. What are your favorite lines? I know one that I just
Okay,
thought of, but I want to hear yours.
I just can't honestly. These ones are my favorite. There's so many, but I'm
Okay.
like these ones are okay. You make every day. Okay, this is Mallory saying you make every day feel like kindergarten.
Oh yeah.
Then thinking about rolling around in the sunflowers patch outside. Oh, baby, I love how you can read my mind, because he basically says that. Like, are you thinking about rolling around? And, it's
Yeah.
just really funny. And this one I love when Mickey, they're at the drugstore and they're like arguing. Like,
Hmm.
he's inside and then they have Mallory outside and he's like, one of the cops is like, I'll cut her teeth off. And Mickey says,
Yeah.
go on, I'll get her some silicone implants. It's
That's true.
funny. It's just so
I,
funny.
I
What
I can't believe you didn't say the one that I thought you were. I think
what was it?
the funniest line
The
in the whole
stars?
movie is I
The
think for
stars, right?
what?
The one about the stars.
No,
No, no.
it's when Juliette Lewis is at that garage and she kills that guy, and then she's like, "That was the
Yeah,
worst
yeah.
fucking head I've ever gotten in my life. Next time, don't be so fucking eager."
That yeah, I have
that
that
is
one, but
that was like
it
my
is
favorite
funny. I
one.
think I think honestly for me it's like the kindergarten. Like it's just funny. Like you make every day feel like kindergarten. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
true.
who thinks that kindergarten was the best time in their life? I mean, I don't even remember kindergarten.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah, I don't either. It was probably a shit show, most likely.
yeah, I
That's
don't really remember
that's so
really.
funny. Yeah, I was
So
trying to figure out what I'm
funny.
gonna name the episode, and I figured out that it's when Mickey says he says badasses don't die.
Oh
So
yeah, that's cool.
that's gonna be the name of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
episode because
yeah.
I was like that's good and short and it's not
That's very
crazy.
cool.
But yeah, like I guess we can wrap up. I have like how well did this age 25 or 26 years on, but we kind of talked about that already. Like we've morphed into this like super serial killer true crime. So yeah,
Yeah, no, great film. It was really
it was
fun
awesome,
to
man.
review it.
I'm glad.
I mean, I wonder if everyone has seen it. It'd be interesting to see
I
like
think
how.
I think so. The last episode that we put up on Go, I didn't think a lot of people had seen it, but apparently people have because it's doing pretty well. People are liking it, so
Cool.
that's cool. Yeah, Jai, you should watch it. It might not be your thing, but you could watch for a while and watch for 10 minutes and see if it's your thing. But
Okay, so
yeah.
you got to watch that documentary about that actress. Sarah, what's her name?
Oh, Sarah Polly.
Yes,
That's
you
right.
gotta watch
Yeah, I
that. It's really
do.
good.
Okay, cool.
Really
I
good.
totally will. Well, yeah, I mean, we will see you on the next one. And yeah, as always, like and subscribe. I said it already, but like, subscribe, do whatever, comment, ratings. It helps.
Yes. Cool. Well, it's been emotional.
It has definitely been emotional. This was
Uh,
this was interesting though. This is like a heavy movie, you know?
yeah.
Maybe
Oh
our
yeah.
next one won't be so heavy. Who knows? I don't know what we're gonna do yet. But it'll be cool.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well,
We'll see you on the next
see you
one.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.